Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you how I paint my portraits with watercolor and gouache. So I'm going to use my Sakura koi watercolors. I had this for a year and 9 months now. I'm going to use a mix of synthetic brush and my watercolor color pencils. So with most of my paintings I use an underpainting. So what you do is you pick up a color. I used light red. Then I diluted it with water to create thin washes. So doing this will help me with my values later on with my painting. So I'm going to use the same color, light red, to create the shadows on her face. I am using Nano's picture as a reference. So the rule with watercolor is you start with the lightest color first and then work your way up to the darkest color because you need to preserve the highlights of your subject, like for example the highlights on the cheeks, because if you start with the dark color with watercolor you will have a hard time lifting it up, and since watercolor is transparent, the darkest shade will just show through your lightest shade. So here I am applying the same color to create a shadow on her neck. I also used the same color for her lips. And here I am using a white gouache to correct my mistake. So most of the time I just use my white gouache to paint on top of my watercolor in case that I messed up, or if I applied a wrong color, or if my shadow is too dark. So if you accidentally used a lot of paint or your paint is too saturated, you can use a paper towel to lift it up. So for the hair, I am going to use indigo. You can go ahead and use black, but I just love adding indigo first before applying black paint because it gives it more depth. Here I am using a brown watercolor pencil to define the line art of her jaw. If you're wondering why I'm using pencils instead of paint, well, pencils are easier to use to make defined lines, but you can still use paint. But if you want a straight line, or if you want your lines to be not wobbly, you can use color pencils. For the highlights, I use my white gouache. For the outline of her eyes, I use a black color pencil. And also for the eyebrow. If you're going to add small details like eyelashes or mole, you can use a color pencil. For the uniform, I am going to use a mix of white gouache and black watercolor, and this will serve as the shadow. And again, I'm going to add white gouache for the highlights. So I'm going to redraw the details of her uniform since I pretty much covered it with gouache. For my mistakes, again, I am going to use white gouache to block it. And that's pretty much it. So if you guys have any questions, comment down below. If you guys have any video requests, go ahead and give me your ideas. So thank you so much guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell for new videos. See you again next time. Bye guys.